Ladies and gentlemen, this is TAE Media here with another video for the Originals series finale, Season 5, Episode 13, When the Saints Go Marching In. And we are talking about really just the episode. I plan on making another video with that describes the Originals' place they've taken tonight in the history of the CW and the history of television itself. I think it has a place. You know, a lot of people are mad, really mad, on the internet. But I'm gonna try to explain why you shouldn't be that mad and why you should, maybe give it another watch. Or give the series another watch and make your own opinions based on what you've seen in the series itself. Going forward, this episode started off a little weird. We got the cliffhanger from last week where, Klaus was about to stake himself, and it kind of was like he wasn't about to stake himself at the beginning. I don't know. But we turn. Hope is there. She is completely, out of the loop on what we saw last week, which was, Klaus is going to die to get rid of the Hollow for good. Hope apparently didn't know. I forgot she didn't know, to be honest. It was, you're looking at the plot and you're like, you didn't know? But, nobody knew besides Klaus and Elijah and Caroline and Lark. And then, Hope stops Klaus, locks him in the garden. I think it was the garden, right? Marcel's, old garden, and the episode flashes to, I think after it's Freya and Keelan, or Freya and Vincent. I'm not sure exactly how the episode order goes. It's been a couple hours, but I'll talk about the dumb plot first. The dumbest plot of the episode is Freya and Keelan asking Vincent to have, to help them have a baby. Dumb. It wouldn't be dumb if it wasn't the series finale. It was the series finale. Not only was it a dumb plot, it was the only plot that Vincent had in the series finale. He's been here for 3 years, and we really couldn't give him something better to do than be the surrogate father to Freya and Keelan's child in the series finale. Unless he's going to show back up in Legacies, then I guess maybe it could justify that, but that was kind of what I was mad about. And I was mad at, and they still make Vincent look like he hates all of the Michelsons. Like, I get he hates, if anybody, he should hate Marcel, but he doesn't. He likes Marcel, obviously. He hates Klaus, apparently, still. Klaus has done save the dude like 100 times at this point. You kind of, a lot of people should hate Klaus, but a lot of people, have also been saved by his ass 1,000 times over. And I just don't get it was the same thing with Davina, dude. I was like, I don't care about Davina's mega hate for Klaus, after she done attacked. Like, once you become just as bad as them, I don't care about your grudges, it makes you a hypocrite in my eyes, I don't know about everybody else, but it does to me. Moving on from my one complaint about the episode, we get Klaus in the garden with hallucinations. Apparently the Hollow was talking to him in the form of hallucinations. It does make sense because a lot of people probably don't remember, but season 4 we had some Michael hallucinations with Klaus, when the episode when Klaus and Marcel were being baited to kill each other. And it's right there when Klaus and Elijah's not there yet. Klaus is, being kind of tempted by Michael, I don't know, or motivated to get on his feet, and then his hallucination of Cammy comes out, and it's like, don't do it, don't, because Michael's telling him to kill Hope, which even for Michael, it sounded out of character. I don't know if he really would have wanted Hope dead. It didn't. The Michael that Klaus killed in season 2 didn't really seem in that direction of characterization anymore, especially with Freya being back. But whatever. I'm drawing a blank here because of that scene. I was taken out of the scene because we haven't seen Michael in so long, and it was nice, man. Sebastian Roche is great as always. Leah Pipes was too as Cammy. I really like those two cameos. If you think of some of the most deserved cameos that should have been made in the original series finale, it's those two characters. Michael is basically almost as essential to Klaus's character as Elijah and Rebecca. I know a lot of people, would think, no way, but yeah, way, you get this one little awesome scene of like after they cut from the garden and Klaus breaks out, you have I think Hope and Marcel argue, and I mean a lot of this stuff makes sense, man, but for the series finale, it feels like stuff that we should have probably did last week. I know we couldn't do it because it was the backdoor pilot essentially for Legacies, but this week, man, dude, some of the like stuff that we already knew was coming, like that, there's just some stuff we know is coming that you shouldn't do, or you should spend less time on and move on to the bigger stuff. It's a goodbye episode. You shouldn't be, there shouldn't be so much dialogue about the problem at hand when we know as a viewer that this problem is going to end by the end of the episode. And it's just, I think that was another shortcoming in the finale itself, in the episode itself. I'll talk about it as a series finale in another video, like I said, but you move on to this. This was one of my favorite scenes in the episode because I literally was like laughing. Klaus and Michael, or Klaus and his hallucination of Michael, are like just socking each other in the face. It was so funny. It was amazing. I love that. After which we have Klaus and Cammy. It's like Cammy was the angel on his shoulder, Michael was the devil, and you see Klaus's eyes glow blue for a second, like the hollow was about to take over, and Cammy holds him down, as it kind of sort of would have been in real life. Michael would feed Klaus's head with all the abuse and the trauma that he's already been fed for 1,000 years, and Cammy was essentially one of the people, if not one of the main persons, that came to help him end that cycle. It was basically her dying wish, was for him to end the cycle of violence that Michael started. So, anybody that loved season 3, that was a nice little full circle thing to that season. And you move it forward to, I basically remember all the Klaus scenes very well. All the Klaus stuff was done really well. Everybody else, man, it was pretty, as an episode, you feel like they didn't get a lot of time. Besides that dumbass Freya and Keelan plot, which we really seriously could have done. We could have took out the stupid of Freya not wanting kids in the wedding episode and done this in the wedding episode. Like this was such a dumb, time-consuming plot for the series finale, and I know they needed a closing chapter on their story because Freya's the main character and Keelan's an essential piece from season 4 on. But series finale, man, But I get to that later. The next biggest plot was really Hope. Hope was trying to deal with, she pretty much knew Klaus was gonna die. There was no stopping it. Who's gonna stop him? I don't know why they didn't just like all hold him down and take the White Oak stake. I feel like that would be the very Michelson thing to do, but I don't know. Maybe not. The next biggest plot was Klaus and Caroline. And there's a deleted scene that's already been released because essentially it almost doesn't make sense with Caroline. That Yeah, it's like a middle scene that should have been in, it really should have been in the episode, now that you think about it. But Klaus and Caroline meet up. She plays him the voicemail that he left her at the end of the backdoor pilot in the Vampire Diaries season 4 episode 20. And I try to explain that episode directly because the if you're just watching the originals or if you don't remember the backdoor pilot as well, the one of the main differences in the 2 episodes where they cut Klaus calling Caroline and leaving the voicemail that he wanted to show her the city he loved most and all the culture and the music and the atmosphere of New Orleans. And back in the Vampire Diaries, it made sense because they were like, she was basically his only romantic interest at that point. You move on to the originals, original, no pun intended, pilot, and Klaus and her don't have this little the voicemail isn't there, but there's a lot of things, like basically I think that was cut out and something else was cut out, and it like that's where Davina was added in pretty much. And this little callback, dude, is so good because I had been kind of waiting for it since they announced Caroline was going to be in the originals. Apparently she saved this voicemail that technically in the whatever timeline the originals is in or whatever year it's in is seriously that's like a 20-year-old voicemail. Like so doing a little quick math real quick. TVD season 4 was 2013. We're 5 years down the road from that. Let's say 20 years down the road from that. Will we even have voicemail? Come on. But anyway, the voicemail was so nice. I enjoyed Klaus and Caroline again. I really enjoyed them this season. Even though I hated them way back in. I didn't hate them in season 4 of TVD, but I did not like I just didn't care for it really, and I didn't care that because back then they made it seem like Klaus and Caroline was this romantic thing when all Klaus was really doing was tearing apart her boyfriend's life. And, it made her look weak by giving into his charms and stuff when he's literally terrorizing the person that she was supposed to love most in the entire show. So I hated that. And now that we're here to the originals, I really enjoy their interaction because it feels so mature and more, Klaus is a completely different character almost. So it really works now, in my opinion. It works a lot differently. It works better. Like I hated their interaction before season 5 was the season 5 of TVD where it was the crossover, right? Or no, they had the phone call in season 7. But the last time Klaus was on Vampire Diaries before season 7 was the 100th episode of TVD, and they had that stupid fan service hookup in the woods, and it was awful. It was stupid. It was completely and utterly fan service. They made some stupid excuse that he needed to watch Catherine Pierce die on her deathbed or something. That's why he was there. It was terrible. He was there, but Elijah wasn't. Okay. The entire thing was so dumb. But this season this is how they should have been from the fucking start. And if it wasn't going to be like this, then Caroline should have never seen anything in him from the start. I don't think their chemistry or anything this season works because of their history or because, the actors have worked together for so long. I think it just works because on a writing level, it is finally in a better place than it was originally. It makes sense now, and it works. The next good thing about this whole entire they had the deleted scene where they were basically in the middle of Mardi Gras, and Klaus pretty much references the backdoor pilot again when he basically brings up Camille. He doesn't say her by name, but they make a little joke about him having a blonde type, even though he's only been with 2 blonde women in the show. Caroline says he has a falling in love with blondes type, I guess. And Caroline makes a sort of joke that she doesn't understand the painting, the art of painting. And, Klaus doesn't take it as an insult. He explains it to her, and they have this real nice bonding moment. And that's when they have this thing where they talk in they talk in the bar or whatever, and then they kiss and they go apart. That is basically their goodbye. And I really enjoyed it. I think it was good. I think overall, Klaus and Caroline was not one of the. I don't think season 5 had tons of flaws like everybody thinks, but one of them was not the Caroline writing relationship. They did not dive into the way that I thought they would have. I thought they were going to go full. Oh my god! Like Klaus was just going to be straight gushy. Your last love has some crap like that Vampire Diaries would have. Not that they were crap, but how they did stupid ass relationships like Bonnie and Enzo. Caroline and Klaus did not turn out anything stupid and dumb like that, and I really, really respect that they kept it that way. All the way till the end, They didn't even kiss all the way till the series finale. It wasn't even a relationship. That's what I think really worked about it. Man, that was a lot of talking about Caroline. The hope aspect of the series finale is her trying to deal with her father's death, and she brings up the fact she's going to be an orphan and stuff, but yeah, she is, and it sucks and it's terrible, but the fact is she will have more family. Rebecca is not dead, Marcel is not dead, and he even tells her he won't always be around, but she so much just breathes his name. He's just as strong as Klaus. He's the most powerful being on the planet. I don't see how Legacies plays out as this overwhelming, maybe it won't be like overwhelming villains in there that she can't defeat, but I don't know, you figured something bad happens, you call Marcel now. Who knows? You move a little bit ahead. Elijah and everybody they do a good job. Daniel Gillies does a phenomenal job of portraying Elijah like he's empty the entire episode. I don't know what it was. I don't know how he did it. But you just look at the way Elijah looks around, how he walks, how he talks. He talks like he's dead inside already. And his acting, if it wasn't for his acting, his ending would not have made sense to me. It wouldn't. If I didn't see what I saw in his performance tonight, he would not have had that much of an impact like he did on the story. That it was what Daniel Gillies and not just Daniel, because I'll talk about it in a minute, but what Daniel Gillies did tonight himself was incredible, and that dude deserves awards. Of course, all the cast are great. I don't think there's one person on the cast that is anywhere near bad. I know a lot of people hated Phoebe Tonkin earlier on in the series, but she definitely improved down the line enough to be good. They were all just phenomenal. And speaking of Phoebe Tonkin, Haley shows up in a sort of ghost form later on in the episode. One of the final scenes where she's just watching over Hope painting, and it makes sense, but it's still the stuff I'm about to get into for that is for the other video. But as Haley's journey comes to a close, it's about as good as you were going to get anyway. A lot of people, think Haley's the female lead. Haley's the, glue that holds this show together. I love the character of Haley. I love Phoebe Tonkin. She was not the glue that held the show together. She's wasn't even originally the female lead. Claire Holt was. Claire Holt left, thus making her have to step into the spotlight a little bit more. Yes, she deserved. I do think she deserved a better ending, a better goodbye in the series finale. I do. I agree with that. I don't agree that she deserves the episode like a lot of people are acting like, because this wasn't as much. It's not like I'm saying it's, Klaus and Hope's story. It's Klaus's story. It's not even Hope's story. Hope's story is the next show. But this was not all Haley's story either, unfortunately, for all the Haley fans out there. I love the character. I just think, this is... We could have gotten a little bit more, but I'm not mad that this is all we got. I think if you are, you're blowing it a little bit out of proportion. The Marcel story ended on a little bit of a sour note for me. Marcel and Klaus, their feud and history really jump started the show. It really made me... I think Marcel was the biggest buying point for me in the Backdoor Pilot. He was super charismatic. He was super fresh. He felt like he came from an entirely different world, and that made it for such a good journey. And he really helps the first season be what it is. And I think the fact that he isn't a bigger feature in the series finale, kind of, if not a bigger, feature in the series finale, then had a bigger standing with Klaus in the series finale, because the series finale is really just a giant goodbye to Klaus, and Marcel had no bearing with that, and it kind of makes me disappointed a little bit in the fact that Marcel is just... It feels like he's cast off as, Rebecca's love interest, really. Their whole Rebecca had more plot with Elijah and Klaus, but Marcel's story was completely tied to Rebecca's. It felt like, and that's not how it was at the start of the series. We didn't even see them as love interest to episodes 2 or 3, and it just... I could have done more with that. The entire, like I said, Vincent, Marcel, and even Freya is kind of sidelined. She gets that dumb baby plot with Keelan and Vincent, and that's really it. She did get her big episode though in the wedding episode, so I'll give them that. Cole has a... Damn, you know what? Cole does have a ridiculous plot too in this episode. He has this whole thing of like... I don't know if it's like his grief or something that's stopping him, but he's trying to leave the city and explaining to Rebecca why this family and Klaus shouldn't be forgiven or whatever, and it just feels like it's unneeded, dude. And it didn't really... I didn't really need Cole and Rebecca arguing about them forgiving Klaus. I thought we were already kind of past this, I really did. I thought we were past this, and I just, I don't know. I felt like we were past it, and I felt like we didn't need to do it. I felt like if there was a previous action in the season that really made a point to show that this needed to be addressed, Cole and the family's history, I would not be saying this, but the fact that Cole's only been in 2 or 3 episodes, and there hasn't been a previous action to assume that he's not past the family drama is kind of annoying, and yeah, it also didn't really have a place in the series finale. Moving on though, the Klaus basically has his own little, or no, not Klaus, I'm sorry. First of all, Marcel and Rebecca hook up. Thank God. They deserve to be happy. I think the whole her not marrying him plot at the beginning of the season, that was kind of dumb, but maybe that was just their catalyst for Marcel to go back to New Orleans and be a part of the season, which, but also, meh. I could have done with them. I could have done with them being together still or something. I don't know. Moving on to the next scene, which I think... Oh, the next scene is the family having like a little cheers to Klaus's worst and greatest hits. And it's pretty damn fun. It's pretty damn fun. I laughed at it. I think everybody probably would have had a laugh at it. It was like him just doing some dastardly, goofy shit. Like there was one where Klaus was like, wouldn't sleep. He was roaming the halls of the castle or the mansion or something, the compound, because because he was paranoid someone was plotting against him. Like, that sounds exactly like Klaus. And it was, I don't know, it made me laugh that they laughed at it, like stuff like that, instead of all their evil stuff that they found annoying or cried about before, they're laughing about it now, and it was real nice. Cole comes back and, basically says, yeah, forget my stupid plot I had earlier, this is more important. I'm like, he could have been there from the start. Little sad to not see Davina, but I'll save that for something else. Klaus walks in, they have what is probably the best scene in the episode. Them all sitting at the dinner table having dinner and just laughing, and for the first time in a show that has been about this family, it really felt like for the first time they had a true all-together family dinner. It was seriously the best. It was one of if not the best scene in the series. It was so good. It was just, there was no dialogue either. It was just them, pointing at each other, laughing, eating. Klaus has never smiled so much in the whole damn show. In like a serious, like, I'm happy smile, he's never smiled like that in the whole damn show. It was so good to see and feel like we earned this, after all his years of being, hated on TVD, and all his years of being hated and hating on the originals, that he finally got some kind of something out of it, like it meant something in the end. I think that was really good. I think it really meant something to the show, something to the people. I think that was awesome. The next scene was Klaus and Hope, and they have this great little exchange, where he basically says goodbye to her, and it's, from him flat out stating he didn't want the baby, to, him sacrificing his life for her, is character development. Like, it's some of the best character development I've seen throughout all of television, and I've seen a lot now, and Klaus is an anomaly, for being like so despicable and so bloodthirsty, and it didn't stop when this series started. He was still a villain for a lot of moments in this series. For him to it just feels so earned, me feeling for his character feels so earned, and everything feels very, very earned for Klaus in the series finale. I think that was the main thing they had to get right, and I think that was what they got right, and I think that's what makes this series so worth. It makes it so worth it. It makes it feel very, very earned. And I feel that going forward, the rest of the series really, or the rest of the universe really has something to learn from the originals. They didn't end their stuff on a giant. They didn't go out with a bang. They went out with a cry, and that's really how I feel like. I didn't really expect this series to end like that, but it did, and it worked. For the most part, it worked. Dude, it's so good. Klaus and Elijah are next. Klaus, Elijah, and Rebecca all walk to that bench, and we have this real great scene of Klaus and Elijah, remembering the stuff from the Backdoor Pilot, where they sat down and decided that they were going to go to New Orleans and Klaus was going to be king. Klaus informs Rebecca, and then he tells her that he's told Caroline to did he say procure the cure? Secure the cure. The cure, like he mentioned the cure, and I don't know. Caroline telling Klaus about the cure, dude, was risky as hell. But whatever, you know. I guess it's worth it. So Klaus tells Rebecca the cure is waiting for her in Mystic Falls when she wants it in a couple decades' time, which is in Damon, Salvatore, and I guess Lena and Damon are in Mystic Falls, or Carol. I don't know. I have no idea. It wasn't really explained very well. I mean, I know Elena has that home clinic or whatever, but I didn't know Damon and Elena were in Mystic Falls, and that is going to make it really hard on the writers when the fans start destroying their mentions. Like, where's Lane and Damon? You know, why don't we get a shot of Ian Somerhalder in a window? You know, some stupid shit like that. No, that will be your, little Easter eggs probably in Legacy's big ones from the Vampire Diaries. You know, maybe one day in like the first season finale of Legacy or something, you'll see Hope running the human Damon, and he tells her, "You should get everything you want out of life." You know, some creepy shit like that, like he did. I'm not gonna make fun of Damon and Elena right now, but the the cure is in Mystic Falls in a couple decades time with her name on it. Apparently, Caroline's going to take it off of dead Damon. I guess, I don't know. In the wake of that revelation, Rebecca asks Marcel to marry her. You know, or yeah, pretty much asks Marcel to marry her. You know, he says yes. That's their happy ending. You know, they're getting married or engaged. You know, and so basically, with all the major stuff covered in this episode, we move to what is a gripping and kind of, if you're not really into this universe or not paying very close attention to the characterization of these characters, you know, this ending is going to really baffle you, I think. Elijah and Klaus, you know, sit there and talk about him dying, and you know, Elijah reveals that he is also going to die. And you know, we all thought it was going to be because he took the hollow, a piece of the hollow from Klaus, and that was going to, you know, eventually kill him or something. But, and I think he does that in this episode to help Klaus, but essentially he kills himself because he doesn't want to be without Klaus in the series, in the, you know, final moments of the episode. And it struck me as really depressing. You know, I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm not saying it is, you know, oh, they really fucked up with, you know, killing Elijah off. Like, no, I mean, Haley's dead. The only thing that really irks me is that, you know, Hope and Rebecca and Cole and Marcel are all still alive. And I just don't understand how we can really disregard every single relationship Elijah's ever had for the fact that he can't live without Haley, you know, Klaus and Haley. And man, it really just drove a depressing tone. But like I said, I would have never believed it was a thing unless Daniel Gillies and Joseph Morgan, you know, Daniel Gillies portrayed that broken Elijah through the entire episode. You know, he did it a lot last episode. I didn't really notice as much because there was only so much Elijah in the last episode. But this episode, he showed so much range and so much nuance, man, with his performance, and it's what helps me buy the ending. You know, it really helps me buy the ending, and it really helps me. Really helped me feel the ending. And you know, him and Klaus, Elijah breaks the white oak stake in half. You know, the mysterious out of nowhere white oak stake, and you know, they plunge each piece into each other, and they don't burn up. They you know, like chip away, you know, chipping away, like, you know, when you burn paper or something. And their dust, their ash flies into the sky, and then the title card comes on, the end title card. Obviously that's not how quick it was. They have a lot of dialogue in which I think was beautiful. Elijah, it's awfully, awfully codependent though, like Sam and Dean Winchester levels of codependent, and it doesn't make me hate the sacrifice. It makes me doesn't make me question it, but it doesn't. I've already bought it because Daniel Gailey's performance. And before I get off Elijah's character, it's the dialogue was very, very good. Elijah says something about his heart's desire is to go with Klaus, and be done. And Klaus feels he's a burden, and Elijah says it's been a glorious ride. And I just think, they were so damn good together, and it takes two to tango in that pairing, and Joseph Morgan is just as deserving of the praise tonight as Daniel Gillies. Joseph Morgan killed everything that he touched tonight, and I don't understand how that dude is not in higher regard in the television industry at all. He is amazing at everything he does. Of course, every scene he has is going to blow you away, but the stuff he did last episode, the stuff he did this episode is top notch. Some of the best stuff he's ever done. And I can't believe no one's on no one's like, my God, where the hell are Joseph Morgan's all his awards at? He's killed every scene he had tonight. So did Daniel Gillies. Daniel Gillies, like I said, he was going for a different approach. He wasn't, scene stealing everything. He was his performance was way more subtle and way more low key. You had to really look at his face and look at his mannerisms and everything, and that's how you realize the brilliance of his performance. But Joseph Morgan's performance was, scene stealing every time. I think the only person that really matched him, where he didn't completely take me away from whatever other performer was in the scene, was Danielle Rose Russell, Hope's actress. She matched his energy so well in their two scenes together, and they really just killed it. And I can't believe that this show still pulls that off with characters that are 8 years deep, and it feels like the characters have done this 1,000 times, but this was so damn good, and it made so much sense, and it felt like a giant victory, man. It did. It felt like a giant victory. It felt like it made sense. It felt like it was... I don't even have the words to describe how Joseph Morgan and Daniel Gillies really carried the whole show tonight. I'm not even gonna... They put it on their backs, and they were like, we'll run this thing to success, and they did it. So as an episode as a whole, it holds up, being a great episode. It makes sense in the fact that, there's not a lot you can do with it. It doesn't... For as many plots as I didn't care for, the ones that I did just blew those out of the water. The good way out trumped the bad in a lot of the stuff. The writing was there. Not in every part of the show, but the writing was there. The good and the important parts. The directing was super on point. I felt like we were back in the Backdoor Pilot, in the New Orleans atmosphere. I really felt like it made sense, and it really gave a lot of... I don't know, I can't find the word. It really made for a great experience, to be back in the atmosphere that I feel like the show didn't really capture after season 1. It captured it, but it didn't really portray it as much after season 1. I felt like we got that tonight. I feel like, all the callbacks were incredible. For in the Vampire Diaries and the originals, both had callbacks to each of their respective moments in their shows. Not just Caroline's inclusion, but other stuff that they mentioned even between the siblings. And then obviously the stuff they did mention between the siblings was stuff from this show that was really great. Legacies had a lot of foreshadowing tonight. I don't know how you move with that forward right away. I think there is a 2-year time jump though, so I don't think that's I don't think you ever can get over your parents' deaths, especially in such a short time span. But she'll have time to try to cope with it. 2 years time before Legacy starts, which means technically they're like super in the future, going back real time. But whatever. You have these. You have a great future with Danielle Rose Russell as your lead in Legacies, because she has proven this season that she could. I know a lot of people were skeptical after the first episode of the season, and the second, but everything she's done since like episode 4 has been like top notch. I don't know, it's because she's working with Daniel Gillies and Joseph Morgan and Charles Michael Davis and stuff, and she's just killing it. And I think if she stays on this slope of just super pushing every envelope she gets, she will be a force to be reckoned with in the future. And I think it really helps that the originals scoped out this little spot for her in the show, and she got to shine. She got to shine all the shine she could. Joseph Morgan, Daniel Gillies leave, Claire Holt, obviously all the cast, but those two specifically, really leave a imprint on CW acting that I feel like they just give 200% to every scene they're in, and there's not many, if any, other CW actors who put up that top spot like that. That show is just incredible. I think the episode flows well. The episode is, like I said, directed well. It's written pretty well. The finale ends in a way that at first the cliffhanger, it felt like I kind of need a little bit more, after that, the double sacrifice. But now that I look at it, what else could you really have done? Besides showing like maybe a legitimate funeral for Klaus and Elijah, but then even that might have been too sad after that, because the sacrifice itself was super tragic. And I think this just needs to be where they lay the series to rest regarding everything. I really hope they don't go on like a roundtable interviews and be like, oh, we wanted this and this, and like they did with the Vampire Diaries series finale, and it got everyone up in arms, and it got people pissed, and got people, it just causes, because fans are so spiteful these days. They'll be like, oh yeah, we're gonna start a petition to cancel your next show, haha, like stuff like that, and it really damages everything else you do when you start throwing out I'm sorry's and all that stuff. And I think they should just stick with what they had tonight. I've seen a couple of the actors and actresses on Twitter, and the best person who I've seen respond to all the stuff was Danielle Rose Russell herself, and she said, don't judge Legacies by what you see tonight. I don't know if she took it as she knew it'd be problematic for the fans of the show, and she was right to be worried about it, because you can't really pull anything these days. You kill off a fan favorite, fans stop watching. You do a storyline that fans don't like, or you do a relationship fans don't like, they might not even quit watching, but they'll spew hatred and all kinds of stupid stuff on social media and everything, and you really have not a lot of free room to take leaps and take risk in television. And I think, that's, like it or not, that's what Julie Plec did in the 2 series finales she's had. And going into Legacies, I think they're going to take the same risk that made us fall in love with these 2 shows. I hope people watch. I hope people don't, even if you didn't like what happened, even if you didn't like what happened in the Vampire Diaries, I hope you don't judge Legacies because of that, because I do think it'll be its own little different omelet. And I really hope it's not, this is how we end the fan interaction for all the shows, with hatred and spite, and it just needs to be better. People need to be better. I think after we get through the first watch of the show is a real tragic and depressing feel, and you feel like you just want to kind of let out all your rage. And that's it. Honestly, that's even why I took a couple hours to record this video, because the finale itself really left me in a state of what the hell, so when I really I gave it another watch, I thought about it again, and I really seen the bright side and everything. It was very easy to see a whole different perspective on the second viewing, and a whole lot of different, to the writing, to the performances, to the stories, to into what's coming next in Legacies. And I think everybody should, try to see the good. Don't dwell on what was, not good. And think about how you want to remember the originals. Do you really want to remember it as something that you gave 5 or more years of your life to, and it was ended like crap, or do you want to see that it did end with some stuff that you thought was decent, and 5 years of watching this damn show wasn't for nothing, So that's really all I got to say on the episode itself. As an episode, stand alone, it works. As a season finale, it works. I'm probably gonna be back with a video talking about it as a series finale, and more as a series finale, and what the future of the CW, or where it lands in the CW, kind of in the ranking of the CW shows, how it falls compared to TVD and DC shows and all the other crap they throw on that network. This is the originals, season 5, episode 13, When the Saints Go Marching In. This is DA Media. This is all my thoughts on the episode itself, and hopefully you guys tune in next time for when I have to talk about another one of this supernatural vampire extravaganzas. I'm out.